Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Get my comments up here. Hey, I wanted to pop in. I'm creating content. I told you guys last week. I've put together a whole training program for our very large real estate organization at EXP Realty. And I thought, God, if I'm doing this much work and this much content, I want to share it out with everybody because nothing's proprietary. I mean, we share. So whether you're in automotive, you're in insurance, you're in retail, you're in financial services, you're in the MLM business, you're an entrepreneur, this content is for you and I'm going to share it. So this is just a little tidbit. It's kind of a promo video just to tell you that every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Central, 1:30 p.m. Central, right? So that would be 2:30 Eastern, and I think that would be 11:30 on the West Coast. I am going to be live talking about how to sell to survive. See, I'm somebody in my 30 plus year career that I've been in every business. And those of you who have known me for a long time, I've brought you through every business with me. Let's see, I was in mortgages first. Well, let me back up. I was in the car business first. So first I was in automotive. Then I got sick of that and I went into mortgages. Did very, very well in the mortgage business. Our mortgage company is still surviving today. 26 or 27 years later, the company that I founded. So for mortgages, then I went, I did a bunch of consulting, like for businesses and stuff on sales, because I kind of got sick of that. I opened a boutique. I had a really gorgeous boutique in Round Rock, Texas. I ran a custom home building company, took them to the next level. Then from there, I went back in the automotive industry, which many of you know me from, where I brought Fiat Alfa Romeo back to the US and had the #1 store in North America for many, many years. From there, I consulted and spoke into many, many big companies. You can check out my website at lisacopeland.com. You can see all the hundreds of logos and stuff of companies that hired me to come in to either speak at their sales conventions or to do some consulting for them. Then the pandemic hits, or the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. And the pandemic hits and my agent calls me, you're canceled, you're canceled, you're canceled. And I'm like, well, okay, what am I going to do now? Y'all, literally, I forgot my insurance company and my financial services company, because I thought if I own a mortgage company, I've got to own an insurance company, right? And we did very, very well there. I was the #1 farmers agent in Texas for my short stint in the insurance company, insurance business. And then I sold the company for more than I ever made. So it was a pretty good deal for me. But pandemic, March of 2020, I get pulled off of a stage in Chicago. Literally, I was the closing keynote speaker for Atlas Movers. And it was their global conference. So they had all of their franchisees, their corporate employees, everybody had come in from all over the world, literally Chicago, Illinois, March 17th. And I'm the closing keynote speaker. I had planned to spend the night. I had a whole idea for their franchise expansion. I was going to pitch it to the VP of sales, hopefully be their consultant. Literally, y'all, the meeting planner meets me backstage and said, we have a car waiting for you. We're going to take you to your hotel, pick up your belongings, and we need to get you to Chicago O'Hare. We've got you booked on a 9 p.m. flight back to Austin. And I was like, what do you mean? Oh, thank you, Joe. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going back to Austin? I thought, God, what have I done? I haven't, Biden hadn't been in office for very long. So I could not have offended anybody during my keynote speech. So I said, well, why am I going back? And they said, because Chicago's going to go on lockdown tomorrow. And I'm like, lockdown? What do you mean Chicago is going on lockdown? And they said, the coronavirus. Now, being from Texas, we had heard a little bit about it, around the country, but we certainly were nowhere near a lockdown at that point or that moment in time. So I get to Chicago O'Hare, and y'all, I swear to you, I was the only one without a mask and gloves. People were freaking in hazmat suits just about. And I remember walking through Chicago O'Hare, and I called my husband and I'm like, I don't know what's happening on the planet, but this is some crazy shit. Like I am scared to get on this airplane. That was the only time during the pandemic that I was weirded out, because everybody in Chicago was like, right? I fly into Austin, come into Austin ABIA, and it's like good old Texas. Like they have the bands playing, the bars are open. Like, what just happened here? It was nuts, guys. It was so nuts. And then literally within a day or two, my agent who's out of New York started calling me. We're canceled. We're canceled. We're canceled. This convention's canceled. That one's canceled. I mean, canceled. So I had the opportunity to get my real estate license and join Tarek El Moussa at eXp Realty. You guys know Tarek. He has the show Flip or Flop, Flipping 101. He's married to Heather from Selling Sunset. And he's, honest to God, one of the nicest humans on planet Earth. I love the guy. I love working with him. He's a great human. He's become a good friend of mine. And so he, myself, Haas, and many others of us have built a very large organization within eXp Realty. And so it's kind of a tiered situation. So I'm directly under Tarek El Moussa. So he's got about probably 16 to 1700 in his organization. I haven't asked him lately. I did talk to him the other night, though, after he broke his arm. He's pretty miserable. And from there, then I came in under him. So I've built an organization. And as of today, it's at 908. It was at 907 on Friday. So we're going in the right direction. Thank you to my team for going out there and making it happen. I laid the bricks on that to tell you guys, which took me 6 minutes and 22 seconds. So thank you for listening. But now I want you to go grab paper. I want you to go grab something to take notes, because I'm going to give you a snapshot, just a snapshot of what my Thursday training, my first one for Sell to Survive, that I have created for our organization. But guys, this is for anybody. Like, I'm not talking about real estate in these trainings, because I gave you my resume to say I've come through everything you can imagine, always was at the top of my game. And I never, ever changed. I've never changed a thing I've done in the way that I sell. And I really do believe that I sell to survive. You know, I mean, the times when I got into some of these industries were the worst of times to get in. I mean, I got into real estate during a pandemic, for God's sakes. Who would have ever known it would have flipped? And we had a very good run for a couple of years. I survived 09 and 10 in the car business. That was not very fun. Anyways, I have survived more ups and downs and administrations, let's just say it like that, and everything else that you can imagine, but I've never changed how I played the game, right? Like, I don't think the rules of engagement ever change. You know, we talk all about technology and AI and how you're going to do this. Well, I think you need to commit to re-technology or reinvent yourself, right? Like, you know, we talk about innovation. What about re-innovation? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to be speaking at Glenn Lundy's event at the end of this month in San Antonio, Texas, to about 100 car dealers. And, you know, and his event is all about re-innovation. Well, is about innovation, excuse me. Well, I'm going to talk about re-innovation, right? Like, there are times that some of us need to re-innovate who we are. Because when things are easy, they're easy. And so many real estate companies are going backwards right now because, you know, they're losing agents and agents are dropping out. Like, oh man, this is hard. Now I got to actually do the work. I've got to prospect. I've got to go and I've got to create a market. It's not just coming to my ankles, right? And that is the time to re-innovate. And it's the same in it's whether you're insurance, financial services, retail, like the world is on like upside axle. Is that the right word, Axel? Well, it'll be my word today. So anyways, I want you to grab a piece of paper. I want you to grab a pen. There's going to be a lot of you catching this on the replay. I get it. Like, hopefully the ones that are gainfully employed are not watching this live right now, but you're going to come back and watch it. And I want you to mark your calendars. Okay. You have to register for this. I'm not going to be doing it on live, but it's sell the number 2 to survive. So it's sell2survive.com. I'm putting it out there right there. And it'll be every Thursday, 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern. And it's going to be an hour of really intensive training. I've got 12 weeks lined up that I'll probably end up having transcribed into a book. Although I know that my good friend Grant Cardone has already got the book Sell to Survive, and I swear I didn't copy him. I told Elena what I was doing because, of course, we were, her team is such a big part of my team. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, Grant wrote that book." And I was like, "I know I've read it, but I still like it. I'm sticking with it because I think that in uncertain times, the only way to survive is to know how to sell, right? It is to hone your skills. My good friend Haas Pratt, he has a book coming out very soon called Skillionaire, right? How do you become a millionaire if you don't have skills? And that's what I'm going to help you guys and gals do over the next 12 weeks is hone your skills. So hopefully you've got a piece of paper. I don't do slides. I'll try to slow down a little bit, but so I'm going to give you a snippet. So I've got all my notes, but Thursday's training, this Thursday, 1:30 at Cell 2, the number 2, Survive, is going to be on how to create a top producing mindset. How do you come up with a top producing mindset? Because let me tell you, top producers don't quit when it gets tough. Top producers don't go home and cry to mommy when they're not top producing. They figure out how to get it done. They figure out how to do more even when the chips are down. So just a snippet of that training, this is kind of a promotional video for Thursday's training, is that you've got to set clear targets. So my full training Thursday will be on having a top producing mindset. But how do you have a top producing mindset? Number one, okay? And again, I'm not going through that training yet. That one's going to be very intense on Thursday. This is just a snippet. You have got to create you have to set clear targets, okay? To have a top producing mindset, you have got to set clear targets. So how do you set a clear target? Number one, this is where you start taking notes, folks. Define your objectives. Start with identifying what is it you want to achieve, but you've got to be really specific about it. Like in everything I've ever done, I always say, I want to be number one. I want to be number one. I want to be the greatest. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be, I set the target to the future. Okay. So my target has always been to look back at some other businesses is to be number one. Now in this company that we're in with 90,000 agents, the highest I've gotten is number 8 year to date in Texas out of about 9,000 agents. Not bad. And number 85 out of 90,000 agents for our entire company, which is, of course, a global company. So what is my target? My target is to get in the top 50. All right. There are just some people on the West Coast who have teams and the way that they do it. That's just my personal sales, by the way, guys. I have an organization that cleared over $1.1 billion in 2022. All right. We don't play. We're in it to win it. But we also give a lot of training and coaching and help our agents get there. And that's what I want to share with you. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you sell cars. I don't care if you're in retail. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, whatever that looks like. Okay. I want to help you get to your target, but my target can't be your target. So I want you today to commit to I want you to set your clear target. I want you to define what is your objective. Start by identifying what you want to achieve. And I want you to be specific about it. Okay. Not just willy-nilly. Like I want you to drill it down. Like I want to be the number one car salesperson in Austin, Texas, or I want to be the number one car salesperson with Chevrolet in Austin, Texas, or I want to be the number one car salesperson with Chevrolet in Texas, or better yet, let's go big or go bigger. I want to be the number one Chevrolet salesperson in the world. Why not? Somebody's got to be that person, right? You got to set your target. You've got to set your intention. Number 2, you got to break it down. If your target is complex or long-term, you want to break it into smaller, manageable steps or milestones. How are you going to do that? Well, you got to figure out, number 1, who's number 1 right now? You got to know who you're going to beat. Number 2, you got to break it down daily. If the number 1 person sells, I don't know, it would be a lot. I have forgotten nowadays. 800 cars a year, let's say, you got to break that down into how many cars a day are they selling? How many days do you have in a week? How many days do you have in a month? How many cars in a day do you have to sell? That's breaking it down. Then you want to take it to monthly, right? You want to set those targets up. You want to have a plan if for some reason you get behind goal, right? Okay, well, I didn't hit it this month. I'm 6 cars behind. So I've got to add 6 cars to next month, or I've got to add 3 properties to next month, right? You have to have a plan. You will never be number 1 in the world in anything you do or number one in your city, your market, your dealership, your brokerage, your whoever you work for, if you don't have targets and if you have not set a game plan. Please, if you hear nothing else I say today, everything I've ever done is so intentional. It is so intentional. I have targets. I have goals. I set them every single month. I try to help my team set them. I don't like losing. I don't like being number two. I'm like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last, you know, and so, but it's all very, very intentional. Number 3 or 4, whatever number I'm on, you got to prioritize. If you've got multiple targets, prioritize them on the importance and the urgency. Okay. You've got to figure out what it is you want to do, how you want to do it, and then you have to put it in order. You want to stay accountable. You know, my funny story about staying accountable is that when I had made the bet with the CEO of Fiat at the time, I thought, well, that's not enough because that makes it go away pretty easily. So I called Automotive News. They about died at Fiat, by the way. When I did that, they were like, holy crap. But I did. I called Automotive News and I told Automotive News the bet I had just made, what the target was. The target was to be to break the world sales record. The bet was to meet Sergio Marchionne, who at that time was the former chairman of Fiat FCA Global. Like, I love that man. He's deceased now, but greatest leader on planet Earth, and I wanted to meet him. So I had the goal, I had the target, I had the prize, I had it all. Now all I had to do was figure out how to get it done, right? So I broke it down with my team. I found out what the number was. I found out how many cars we had to sell to break that world sales record, right? I can't just say I'm going to break a world sales record and then just go into willy-nilliness, right? You can't do that. You have to know what the target is. And then I had to start getting the people, telling every salesperson, okay, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. And if we all do what we're supposed to do, we're going to hit the target. Okay. It's no different whether you have a sales team or you have, or whatever it is that you have. That doesn't matter. You got to bust it down, but you got to know what you're trying to beat first. You've got to regularly review it. So if you're out to if you're out to break a monthly record, if you're out to break a yearly record, you got to look at it every day. Okay, where am I at today? Am I ahead or behind target? Am I ahead or am I behind? If you're ahead, great. Keep your feet on the gas. You're on a roll. If you're behind, you need to come up with a new strategy. You need to come up with a new action plan to do the makeup, right? Make sense? You've got to seek feedback from others who have experience in your area of focus or your area of expertise, guys. But don't listen to the naysayers. Like, I want people in my organization, I want people that I know to have such big, hairy, audacious dreams and goals that people are laughing at them, right? I can't even tell you how many people laughed at me when that news broke in Automotive News. They're like, have you lost your mind? Like, serious. Have you lost your mind? Why would you go out, make that bet, and make it public? I made it public because I wanted to have the accountability of it, right? So that I wouldn't wake up tomorrow morning and go, this is hard. I don't want to do this. This is way too hard, because it was hard, by the way. And so I knew if I had that accountability. So who's that accountability for you? But then you also don't want to have people that are dream stealers. Because I had people within my own organization that told me I'm crazy. Why are you doing this? I had people that were my competitors. I had people that were friends saying, why are you doing this? This is stupid. All right. So you can't let other people steal your dreams. You can't. So I really want to encourage you there. So be careful who you talk to. Be careful who you let into your dreams, your goals, your reality. I hope that this helps you guys and gals. This is just like a snippet of the training that I'm going to give in Sell to Survive, because you see, this week, the number one, what we're going to be talking about is top producing mindset. Well, that is just a snippet of what it takes to have a top producing mindset, of what I just laid out to y'all, right? And you can't have a top producing mindset if you don't know how to set targets. Because if you don't set targets, how are you a top producer, right? How do you do the research? How do you find out what's been done before, and how do you do more? Guys, most of it's just math. I swear to God, it's just math. You find out what the number one person is in whatever you're looking to achieve and break down their numbers on a daily basis. But you need a good coach. Like, I like to be a coach to my people. I hope I can be your coach. I hope I can help you guys. I mean, I'm creating this content anyways, um, because I am one of the coaches for our huge organization. And so I'm creating it anyways. And that's why I thought, God, I'm just going to share it because I spend so much time on phone calls and people calling me from my past, from my future, people I've never even met, people that find me on online or on social media or have seen me speak before. They'll call me and they're like, man, like this is like, how does this economy turn upside down so quickly? I'm going to tell you one way: vote Republican next time. There's that. But I'm not going to go down that road today. But it has turned upside down. The world has changed. There are still people buying cars. There's still people buying houses. There's still people buying insurance. There's still people, which is one of the reasons we've got the inflation that we've got. So people are still out there buying. There may not be as many of them. But the good news is there's also people that are quitting right now. And I don't want anybody that I know that follows me that's in my community to quit on themselves, right? If you quit on yourself, then that's really hard to rebound from. And I know it's hard to have a winning mindset every day. It's hard for me to have a winning mindset every day. My job's gotten a lot harder than it was even a month ago. But you know what? I still get up every morning. I still communicate with my clients. I'll tell you what, not communicating with your clients is the worst thing you can do in a down market. I mean, bad news, write this down. Bad news is better than no news. Okay. Your clients are reading the newspapers. Your clients know what's going on. But I've seen so many people try to hide from the truth because, or they don't want to talk to their clients. That is not having a top producing mindset. A top producing mindset, like you get up every day and you face it head on. And one piece of advice I'll give you is that I do everything I don't want to do first. And that starts with working out. I go to Pilates just about every single morning. And it's not that I don't like it because I really do, but it's work, right? Like it's the thing I really kind of don't want to do when I get up in the morning, but I do it first. People say all the time, like, why don't you take afternoon classes or evening classes? I'm like, because I won't go. I won't do it. My thing is I do the hard stuff first. So if that helps anybody out there, I can just tell you it works for me. It's just easy to get it out of the way, and then I can kind of coast into the rest of the afternoon or the day. And so that's my big piece of advice. That's what top producers do. They do the work, they do the hard things first. They don't give up. You don't quit. You don't say this has gotten hard, so I'm going to go do something different, okay? This is the time that you invest in yourself. This is the time that you press in. This is the time that you say to yourself, you know what? Everybody else is quitting. So if I don't quit, when the ship rights, right? When the ship turns back around, which I think will be in November of 2024, when this ship turns back around, I'm going to be at the top of my game. I'm going to have invested in myself. I'm going to have done the work. I'm going to have taken the courses. I'm going to have read the books. I'm going to have met the people. I'm going to have gotten all the hard conversations out of the way because your clients will remember that. I promise you. I promise you. They will remember that you had the courage, right? In the absence of courage, do it scared. Anyone who follows me knows that is my signature. That's what I say. I scream it from the stages. I tell it to my team. Like, it takes courage. It takes courage to make hard phone calls. It takes courage to tell a client that, you got bad credit, or it takes courage to tell a client you need to drop the price on this house, right? Like, you're crazy. It's not going to sell for this. Like, it takes courage, because what happens when you give people bad news, right? What do you fear? You fear rejection. You fear they're going to fire you, and you might get fired. Okay. It might happen. But at the end of the day, you still lived your truth. You still did what was right by that client because you stayed in communication and you told them the truth. All right. And that's part of having a top producing mindset. So I went a little bit off script, but again, today it's just you have a little that I'm teaching in this is targets, right? You've got to set clear targets. So if you're watching this on the replay, if you know somebody that needs to see this, I want to recommend, in fact, I'm going to put it up here. I want to invite all of you. I don't care what brokerage you're with. I don't care. Let me see here. Do I have a banner? Really? I don't have a banner. Let me create one real quick. Um, I don't care if you're in God, typing and talking. Hold on, to survive. I don't care what business you're in, because really, there's probably not a business that you're in right now that I haven't done. I don't know if that's because I'm old enough or whatever that is, but I have done most sales. Okay, I've never been a doctor or a lawyer, um, but I've done most sales of about everything that you can imagine. I've sold insurance, mortgages, cars, financial services, clothes. Mhm, I did. I had a boutique. Some of you guys know me from Enjoy Boutique. I've raised money. I've done it all, right? And it's about selling, 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 selling. And in this sort of economy and in this sort of environment, you've got to hone your sales skills. And it isn't about the crafty closes or being tricky or being manipulative. No, no, no. It is about bringing a buyer and a seller together into mutual agreement. Because once you have a buyer and a seller and me, we can bring them together in mutual agreement where they both win. You're the greatest salesperson on the planet. And that doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't, right? But so how do you do that, right? You've got to have a mindset every single day, especially in times like this, that you're going to go out there and you're going to win, you're going to conquer, you're going to be fierce. Yeah. So, hopefully someday in a couple of years, my new seminars and my new training for our teams will be sell to thrive. And yes, I did buy the domain name. But right now, it's sell to survive. I got a email from a gal on LinkedIn. I don't know her. She's just one of the 14,000 people that's in my community. And she said, I'm gonna tune in. I've followed you for years. And she said, because what I'm selling right now, which I don't know what it is, I don't think it's real estate. What I'm selling right now, she's like, I'm really struggling. And I wrote her back and I just said, maybe your product isn't for now. I don't know what it is. And I haven't checked LinkedIn. She might have written me back, but there are times sometimes you have to move on from your product, because the best product or service you sell is um, it solves a problem, serves a need, right? What problem can you solve, or what problem do you solve with your product or service? If you no longer solve the problem or solve a problem that's relevant, sometimes it's time to move on. That's what I did. I had to do it, right? The problem I solved when I was a speaker is I would go speak to sales organizations and help their sales organizations get unstuck. And I'm good at that. Like, I am a good speaker and I am good on that stage. And people would come up after these um, company conferences and say, thank you. You got me unstuck. You made me start to think, like, I was killing it in the speaking business, killing it, making a ton of money. My speaking fees, 20,000 plus per speaking engagement. And I had a bunch, like 2020 was going to be my year, because, I've been doing it for about 5 years, and I do 10 one year, and then I did 12. And then I had 20, I had over 20 booked for 2020. But what happened? COVID. So what happened? My services were no longer needed. They were needed, trust me, but they could no longer accommodate what I do, because I did it from a stage and I did it for conventions. And of course, I did some stuff on Zoom, but it's not near as impactful, in my opinion, as being in the room with the audience. Okay. So I had to figure out something else to do in 2020. It was the great pivot for me. And literally, y'all, the only thing I hadn't done was sell real estate, even though I'd been in the real estate business for years when I was running the mortgage company. And I bought a ton and own a ton of real estate, but I hadn't been a real estate agent. But I was like, you know what? What I do now no longer serves me. Okay. So I'm going to find something that I can do that is relevant to today, right now. And that was selling real estate. And it's served me well, I might add. I think I'm going to stick with this one for probably until I retire. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the clients. I love the challenge. I love the negotiation. I love my team. I love building the team. I love it. But how many jobs did I have to go through to say that, like, I think I have finally found the one thing? And I tell you these stories kind of tongue in cheek, but you guys follow me. You're my friends. I know a lot of you. Some of you I don't know, but I'm telling you, sometimes you got to pivot. So I'm hoping that I can help bring some clarity to anybody out there that's kind of sitting in that situation, because it happened to me in 2020. It happened to me in 2016 when I didn't want to be a car dealer anymore, right? It happens. Like, we go through these cycles in life. So anyways, sign up. You have to sign up for these. They're Zoom calls. It's the only way that I can see who's in there and not in there. We're not trying to upsell you anything, nothing like that. But I have to I have to look and see, or I don't, but my team makes it. We don't have some, psycho killers in there. So we decided not to do it on Facebook Live. We decided to do it through Zoom. So you have to register selling2survive.com. I hope you'll put it on your calendars, 1:30 Central, 2:30 Eastern, every Thursday. Even if I'm not in town, I'm going to try to do them from wherever I'm at. I think my next thing is I'm going to Miami in 2 weeks to be with the fantastic Elena Cardone. So anyways, but anyways, I want to pour into you guys. I want to give you my 30 plus years of experience, of my winnings and my losings, my failures. Like, right, we've all failed. If someone tells you they haven't failed, they're lying to you. But I think I've condensed it into 12 weeks, and together we're going to get through whatever's going on planet Earth right now. So anyways, I wish you guys the best. Top producing mindset this Thursday. But step one to that is setting clear goals, right? And in the absence of courage, do it scared, right? Like, I know it's scary to pick up the phone. I know it's scary to prospect. I know it's scary to call your client when you don't have good news for them. All of it, it's scary. But in the absence of courage, right? The courage of picking up the phone, just do it scared. Just tell yourself, look, this is terrifying. But after you make those phone calls and you realize that it's okay, and communication is absolutely the key to winning in business and in life, as long as you communicate, all right, guys and gals, I hope I will see you Thursday. Tomorrow, I've got my dear friend Sharon Lechter, New York Times best-selling author, with her new book about money, and I'm super excited about that. So that's it. Gosh, I think it's at 1:00 Central tomorrow. We'll be back on this platform and talking to Sharon about how money works for women. So it's going to be good. If you guys don't know who Sharon Lechter is, you need to. But she was the co-founder, co-author of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad Empire and the leading financial literacy expert in the world for women. I got cool friends, don't I? All right, everybody. See you tomorrow.